everyone. We are back with Midlife Mailbag and a question from one of our listeners, watchers, readers. So this question is about success in midlife and how you define it. So here we go. So for many years, I defined my worthiness in terms of achievements. If I was working really hard and achieving a lot of things, I would feel really good about myself. But if I hit some roadblocks on the career front, I would feel like a total failure. In recent years, that's changed for me. I'm less affected by external measures of success and more affected by what actually matters most to me, a sense of meaning and purpose, plus a sense of connection. I'm wondering if you could talk a bit about defining success at midlife, redefining success at midlife.
Yes, I say let's do more of that, because that's sort of like, being on a treadmill where you feel like you have to constantly be working harder and harder to prove your worthiness. Like, that is just a recipe for burnout and exhaustion. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I learned the difference between self-esteem and self-compassion. And I think that's sort of at the heart of this thing, where self-esteem is great when everything is going well. Like, if you're a young person in school and you win a scholarship or you get your first job or something, you're fueled by those achievements. But sometimes you can be going all out with your effort and, none of the ducks are lining up, right? It just, and so then you start to feel crushed. So it's like, self-esteem is good on a good day, but terrible on a bad day. Whereas self-compassion, treating yourself with kindness, and at least as much kindness as you would extend to a friend who's struggling, that is the kind of being your own friend that works on good days, bad days, in between days, the whole shebang. So I think learning about self-compassion is what allowed me personally to step off that achievement roller coaster and say to myself, I'm doing the best that I can in a really challenging situation. Like, I can't do all of these 10 things that I might have tried to do all at once when I was younger. And just arriving at that place of like peaceful self-acceptance, I think that is a big thing. And also with the last bit about finding different senses of meaning and purpose, like, for me, relationships mean everything. Like, what really fuels me is having a heart-to-heart conversation with a friend. I know I'll be like riding a little high later because of these conversations we've been having, and just feeling that sense of connection, and also, contribution. What are my unique skills? What can I contribute to other people around me and maybe to the culture more broadly through my writing? So those are the things that really give me a strong sense of meaning and purpose. And, I had somebody say to me the other day, like, because I'm trying to write my first novel, like, do you think you'd be able to write a best-selling novel? It's like, that's not even the point. The point is, I just want to get the sense of meaning and creative joy that comes from learning that new thing. And maybe in the end, it's something I just do for me, and that will be completely fine.
Yeah, I think what you're speaking to is values, actually, and a recognition of what you really care about. And achievement and success tied to achievement is something that our society really hammers in early and a lot. And so I think it's easy to feel like if you don't achieve or accomplish things that you're not successful. But really what I think midlife is an opportunity to define for yourself what's important. And to me, that is the first step in redefining success, because success is, have I expressed what's truly important for me in my days, in my months, in my seasons, in my life, in my year? So I've been doing a lot of value sessions with clients, and they're so thrilling, because not only does everybody have a different set of values, but everybody defines the same word differently. And it's just really, really rewarding for someone to say, okay, health is most important. Okay, well, why? What is health? What does good health let you experience or do or feel, or what does it give you? And then it's like, oh, I didn't think of it to that level. And then you realize that actually there's this whole treasure chest of things that are being deepened for you, that you understand now about yourself that you didn't. So if you're accessing that success, and then you don't lose success if you're not healthy, right? Like, health isn't the only way into those things. Sometimes I hear a lot about people saying, well, I want to be healthy. I want to be healthy. I want to be healthy. Well, sometimes we can choose our health and sometimes we can't. And I don't feel when my health isn't good that I'm not a successful human. And I just think it's really important to not take on other people's definitions of what's important and what success is, and really put your own stake in the ground for that. So
yeah, totally. And I loved what you said about sort of like looking at what is the underlying message in that, because, I want to stay healthy is a positive goal, but what if at the foundation of that, there is a lot of fear, like, what if I have to be dependent on other people? What if I can't be completely self-sufficient? None of us can go through this life being 100% self-sufficient. It's just not part of being human. But it can be deeply terrifying to a lot of people. I remember when I was researching my book, coming about across a lot of research about declining health anxiety. So it's a real thing. And the best way to confront a fear is by acknowledging the fear and talking it through and thinking like, maybe instead of feeling like I have to, do a 90-minute workout at dawn every day or something in order to try and safeguard my health in a way that may not even work in the end, I could say to myself, what would I really feel secure about knowing my body and myself is getting older is maybe just maintaining connections and having vulnerable conversations with people around me about like, what if I lose my mobility, or what if this other thing happens, would you be there to support me, and how could I support you? Those kind of conversations.
Oh, that's really beautiful. Because one of the places my mind went when we were talking was like, yeah, so there's a value on independence. And instead of being afraid of losing the independence, maybe there's an invitation to look at right now, where could I be more independent, or where am I dependent? I'm not acknowledging it. And maybe some fulfillment comes from things you can do now that have nothing to do with health. Yeah. So yeah, it's a way in to just be curious about these things. And what the person was saying about, I just want to acknowledge this, what the person was saying, it's more now about a sense of meaning and connection. I just think that is also developmentally very common to happen, that we go from checking the boxes to actually like, how can I give back? What would be meaningful for me? Not so much what's my purpose, but why am I doing the things I do? Yeah. Am I acting on purpose versus what is my purpose? And do I have support and connections and community? That's I was just hearing today on the Dax Shepard podcast that loneliness is like smoking 17 cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
So the guy he was interviewing, who I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but he said, if you had to choose between smoking with a group of friends or staying home alone and not smoking, actually the healthier choice, which is bananas to think about. But yeah. So anyway, that's a good one to think about. And I think it really does open up an invitation for everyone to think about, how have I changed my idea of success? Yeah. Because for me now, if I look at my calendar and there's some really nice white spaces in there, I'm like, good week, successful week.
I even block off entire weeks. Like I have one week in February that's like fiction writing week. It's like, I will not put anything else on this because I just want that white space, that mental white space.
Yeah. So, I might not have thought of that. Like I might have thought, oh, I'm not busy enough. So it changes. It changes. Anyway, congratulations for knowing that about yourself. I feel like these people are so smart. They're answering their own questions.
They just make us look good.
Well, it's just so smart. I got like, talk about it. Well, you already know you're doing it. Yeah. You got it. Anyway, thank you for writing in. And again, I think we should invite people, if they have things to say, to please comment, because it would be great to hear.
Yeah, especially I'd love to hear about people who were like their whole identity was wrapped up in success in a very narrow measure, and something changed. How did they make that transition, and what did they learn from that? That would be fascinating.
That would be really interesting.